John records this long farewell speech that Jesus makes to his disciples on the night that he was betrayed. It's chapter 15, 16, and 17. One of the most famous passages in 15 is Jesus saying, "I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, he who remains intimately with me, will bear much fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing." Talking about the necessity in the Christian life to leaning on Jesus. In 16, not quite as famous, but also really important, Jesus talks about the promise of the Holy Spirit. And there's a couple of verses that I think are really important. Verse 7, Jesus says, "It's actually to your advantage that I depart from you, because then I will send the encourager, the advocate, the helper," speaking about the Holy Spirit. And then in verse 13, he says, "This Spirit of truth will guide you in all truth." And so if we are going to intimately lean on Jesus, if we're going to abide in him and depend on him, we do that by being filled with his Spirit and being intimately close to him in a spiritual way. So here's the short part of that message. That is that Jesus will never call you to do something that his Spirit doesn't also equip and empower you to do, right? You can accomplish all things through the Holy Spirit that Jesus has called you to do. And so today we want to pray that we trust in him, that we lean deeply on him, that we depend on him to accomplish things in us. As I was thinking about this, I was reminded of a Bible study several years ago that we had in the Ortman's home, and I made the comment, man, it would be really cool if, like the Israelites, we had a pillar of fire to direct us through the wilderness. And in a way that only my friend Jeff can say, he said, yeah, I can imagine that the Israelites would say, it would be really cool if we could ditch this fire and have the Spirit of God inside us directing our ways. You know, we can never take for granted what God is doing in our lives. The intimacy with which God reaches out to us is really unprecedented in all of the Old Testament scriptures of all time. It is to our advantage that Jesus has come and that he has returned to heaven, because he has placed his very own Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, in us to guide us in every way of truth. Be blessed.